All right, shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We in this thing, Big Q representing the Sports Coma. Big ups to you guys. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show. Go to FanDuel for all your bets. MMA, NBA, doesn't matter. FanDuel, one stop shop. Check them out. In this episode, fam, we're going to talk about the salary cap. Shout out to LouisianaSports.net. Big ups to them with this article. Shout out to Ross. He put out a good one here. Saints projected with less than 10 million in salary cap overages. As you can see, a very happy, slick Mick. And even listen, this year is positive. Next year is even better, man. But listen, let's hit this article and get some game. Y'all hit that like button, hit that sub button, man, as we get going, and the share button in this episode of the show. The final days of February approaching. So, next phase of the NFL offseason is on the way, right? You got the NFL scouting combine, free agency around the corner. So, in the process, the Saints are set to get some positive news. The club is now expected to be in its best salary cap health in several seasons. The league's already shared a memo which included a projection that they'll have, as you can see right here. This was Tom Pelissero kind of released it, that he suggests that the 2026 salary cap could land between 301.2 mil and 305.7 mil. That's at least $22 million leap from last year's 279.2 for the Saints, which is currently projected to be 20 million and 40 million over the cap for 26. It represents greater relief than what a smaller increase would have to achieve. So the Saints are very accustomed to that adept navigating cap overages. Remember, a couple years ago we were over 100, then we were 80, but this time around we looking pretty good, man, in this thing. So how far over the cap will the Saints be? The current expectations are that New Orleans will be less than 10 million over the cap as the new league year approaches. March the 11th is the date. Saints have a reputation for being tens of millions over the cap as the compliance deadline nears. For instance, before the 21 season, the Saints had to work to clear over 100 million in cap space. Projections from overthecap.com places the team at 8.3 million going into 26, while operating with a 303.5 million cap across the NFL, meaning that if the league limit is closer to the maximum range shared in the memo, the team could be in even better shape. So that is terrific news, right? So how New Orleans could get under the cap? This is what some of the data indicates. Getting cap compliant with an average of 8.3 million wouldn't be a massive undertaking. One simple restructure without adding voided years. Chase Young's $14.83 million deal is his base salary for this upcoming year, will free up 10 million, putting the Saints in a positive status with just one clear up, right? New Orleans has the means to create more than 60 million in simple restructures, right? We know that. So that's something we talked about in the previous, as we can show you some receiptage right here from over the cap. Got the Saints position at 8.2 plus in the red, right? So we got 8.2 in the red. And then you look at the salary, the highest one, the base salary, as you can see 14.8 from Chase Young, and then it goes on. You can see Granderson at 10.7, McCoy at 10. Fifth, we can kind of re-sign or extend rather Chris Olave to get a smaller annual or base salary rather. Cesar Ruiz, Juwan Johnson, Justin Reed, some of these guys are also eligible to if the Saints wanted to, and they probably will, do some restructure. So New Orleans they can create more than 60 million in simple restructures. How's that go? Well, let's take a look at the SF data that was put out there by Jason of Over the Cap. And it mentioned simple restructure converts payments into prorated signing bonuses and spreads over the remaining years, like the Phantom deal. If you scroll all the way and look down to number 4, matter of fact, let me see if I can kind of produce this chart for you guys, make it a little bit more clear. Here it is right here. that if you look at this restructure chart, you can see the Saints at 15, and if they restructure all the people they need to restructure, look at it, they can get $64 million in restructured money, right? If the Saints wanted to go as far as that, maximizing $60 million. Now, will they go that far into it? Who knows, man? But the bottom line is they still have some work to do. Mickey Loomis does have those options. So if the Saints cleared the maximum amount of space, the team could have more than 50. Well, you could have about more north of 60 million to spend, but don't expect them to get out of hand with the spending. Mickey Loomis made it clear that while the team wouldn't have to do, wouldn't have to do much to be compliant, that the organization's spending habits would take more of a responsible approach. He mentioned, he said, and I told, shout out to brother Gundam, man. I told him this is that we got to be judicious. That's what Loomis said during the team's end of the season press conference. Y'all remember? We can't just go out there and just start throwing contracts around and doing things that we wouldn't ordinarily do, but we have some different opportunities, which means, remember I told y'all about the game. Remember we talked about this before, and this is brought on by Gail Benson. Gail Benson has made it a point to talk about being more economical in terms of the team's spending. She mentioned that in comparison to what was going on with the Pelicans, going on with the Saints, because they tend to get a little cheaper after these bad years. The Saints have had going on 5 years of not making it to the playoffs. The Pelicans have been a disaster as well, losing games, not being very competitive, and that tends to kind of bite you, right? From a merchandise standpoint, from ticket sales, this sort of thing, concessions, all the stuff that you would benefit from if the team was performing better. Like the Saints look a lot better the last 9 games of the season. Perhaps that carries over into 2026. We're counting on that. So, but the team doesn't have to have $60 million in revenue to spend, because remember, they got 150 plus million next year on the cap, and they actually are set up in for a position where they have a lot of opportunities. Like they don't have a lot of holes on the team. They have to fill in the depth on the offensive line, no doubt about that. Interiorly speaking, they have to get some help in the running back room, help wide receiver rise, some depth in the tight end room, some help on defense, some competition in the special teams room. They got some places to look, right? So instead of the Saints having to go and hire a bunch of new coaches like Aaron Glenn did when his team failed and looked terrible, he fired a bunch of coaches, had to go back and rehire people. Kellen Moore didn't have to do that this year. It's not a mad dash. Last year, he had to buy a house and do all this other stuff, get used to being a coach for the first time, assemble his staff, get everybody on the same page. He didn't have to do that this year. So he didn't fire any coaches. Most the guys are still with the Saints. They're feeling good about the team going forward. So he don't have to focus on none of that. So it's no need to fire the special teams coordinator and all this kind of stuff. They know what kind of team they got. And all they have to do is fortify their quarterback. They have an identity now, sign a few players back, but they have the money to be able to compete, and sign some of their key people back. Some of the people they have to look at and spread some money to, obviously Chris Olave, with his $15 million a year. They have to do an extension on him. You got Brian Bresee. You decline the option on him. You might want to work out an extension for him. There's Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Alante Taylor. That's there as well. And then after that, you got key reserves that you want to bring back. Guys like Luke Fortner, perhaps, some of these other guys that are cheaper, defensive players that really helped you, like Chris Rumph, Jonah Williams, Jonathan Bullard, some of these guys like this, bringing them into, and perhaps, and even adding free agents. Once you get through that, adding free agents, some of the top guys in the draft, maybe 3 or 4 guys coming into the team. You always, of some of the higher ones, and of course 4 or 5 guys, and then the draft picks later. So the Saints can, with the money, fortify the team and make them more competitive. We're in the NFC South. It's wide open. Remember, Panthers backed into the playoffs. Why can't the Saints step up? We see Tampa Bay had an overhaul. We know Atlanta hired another guy. They got issues at the quarterback position. Carolina has some stuff they have to look at. But in the end, the Saints can have a quantum leap from worst to first, just like we seen with New England. You know, they can have. I ain't saying they're going to the Super Bowl, but man, things could look a lot differently with the right moves. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, with that being said, how do you guys feel about it? What direction you think the Saints should go? How you feel about the fact that the New Orleans Saints, man, according to Over the Cap, are $8.2 million in the red. And when you switch it to 2027, look at that number, baby. 150 million plus for 2027. The money's looking good. Things are looking good. We just have to see what the Saints do. Can they keep, focus and handle and build the team in the correct way, build on that energy and the good spirit of how they played over the last 9 games? That'll be key into the off season, and we'll be here for it. With that being said, I'm Big Q. Y'all feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the share button. Feel free to share the show on social media feed. Also, shout out to FanDuel, the sponsor of the show. Y'all get y'all bets in at FanDuel on the app. It don't matter what sport it is, WNBA, NBA, MMA, whatever. FanDuel is the stop. Y'all also check out our merch in the description section below, and also fill in the comment section. Let me know how y'all feel. With that being said, I'm out of here. Much love. Peace.
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thewhodatdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thewhodatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic, NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.